Welcome to the Regula Young Group Buyer Series. Chantel Dolphin from When Insurance is here to help us learn about home insurance. Hi, Chantel.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good. Before we get into the details, can you explain when buyers should be talking to an insurance broker during the buying process, or why timing matters so much?
So timing matters because quotes themselves are actually only good for 30 days. So you should be getting in touch with your broker well in advance. Have those conversations, make sure that they know the time frame on them. Coverage needs to be put in effect for the date of possession, not before, because the buyers don't actually have insurable interest before they take possession.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. When a buyer reaches out for a quote, what are the core pieces of information they need to even get the process started?
For sure. So some of the core pieces that we'll need to know we're insuring is the occupancy. So is it going to be a primary residence, a seasonal, or a rental? Like I mentioned, the date of possession. We also ask, are you moving in right away? Some of the people that buy properties want to do renovations prior to moving in. That can sometimes change some of the insurance coverages or use. So we need to have those conversations. We'll need to know the legal names and dates of birth of the people on title, the full address, including the postal code.
That makes sense. Yeah, yeah. And what information about the house itself affects the quote the most?
So the house itself will need to know when it was built, the square footage, how many stories it is, how many bathrooms, and the types of bathrooms. So we'll ask, are they full, are they 3/4, or are they half bathrooms?
Right.
The roof, heating, plumbing, electrical types and ages. We'll ask if there's auxiliary heat. Do you have a wood stove, pellet stove, fireplace? Basements, are they finished or unfinished? Garage, are they attached or detached? We'll need to know some of the information about the exterior of the home, the finishings. Yeah, that's about it.
That's awesome. From an insurance perspective, what features tend to raise red flags or require extra inspections for buyers?
Yeah, so there's quite some things that will affect the rates. So wood stoves will need wet inspections or auxiliary the solid fuel questionnaires that some of the companies offer. The age and the age of the roof and the heat furnace, age of hot water tank,
Yeah.
types of plumbing, types of electrical. So we're going to ask if there's any poly B, galvanized, lead, cast iron, or brass. For plumbing, electrical, we need to know if there's any knob and tube or aluminum wiring.
Right.
Sometimes we'll ask if there's anything less than 100 amp service for the electrical. Are they renting out any portions of the property? So lots of people like to Airbnb separate rooms or rent out rooms. We need to know that. And postal codes, some of the areas are rated higher than other postal code areas. And the individuals themselves, their insurance history, their claims history, age, and many more.
Wow, that makes sense. But yeah, that's extensive. And are there any deal breakers, or are they just things buyers need to plan for?
They're not deal breakers. We just need to have the conversation, make sure we know what markets we're approaching and what the markets need to kind of get that insurance in place for them.
Right. Rural and small town properties are a big part of my market. What extra information do the insurers need for rural homes?
There's just some extra questions we'll be asking. So with the rural properties, there's often civic addresses. So we'll need to know the civic address and the mailing address. If there's septic systems, if there's a well, if there's any farm exposure or income generating opportunities, numbers of acres, if there's any animals on the property, farm tractors, and if they're renting out the land to others. Sometimes that's happened as well.
Yeah, makes sense. Is this something buyers should be thinking about before writing an offer?
Yes, definitely have the conversation sooner than later so you know what you're in for.
Right. Can you explain the difference between broad and comprehensive coverage in plain language?
Yeah, so broad and comprehensive are like the core policy types that you can purchase for residential insurance. So comprehensive is all risk coverage on the building and on the contents as well. Broad is all risk on the building, but only named perils on the contents. There is actually a minimal price difference between the two, so it's typically beneficial to have the comprehensive with the added value that it offers.
Awesome. So when they say named peril, so like that would cover like, some one expensive item or something.
No, named perils is typically just like on the policy, they'll have like a deck page that says these are the insurable risks that would be insured. So if there's
Okay.
fire, lightning, winds,
Oh, I see.
specific perils that the company's only going to cover. The difference really between the two is the comprehensive adds the extra coverage for mysterious disappearance and accidental occurrences. So an example I like to use is if someone's having a housewarming party, they've got a new place, they bring people over. If something goes missing and they can't prove a break and enter, they're not going to have coverage on broad policies, whereas a mysterious disappearance is covered under comprehensive.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
So you could lose something even.
Yeah, mysterious disappearance. Yeah.
Uh, what optional coverages do you strongly recommend buyers at least ask about when they're getting a quote?
Yeah, always ask. You don't have to necessarily take them, but it's always good to know what you're eligible for. So those optional extended coverages are going to be your sewer backup, your overland water, service line, groundwater, home equipment breakdown. Often there's a lower glass deductible policy. We actually have an in-house policy to us. It's called One Home Glass. There's a lower glass deductible for the glass-related claims. Claims-free protection, building bylaws, if there's contents in storage, if there's home-based businesses, or if there's home-based daycare operations, those are all extra coverages that
Wow,
you're going to want to ask about.
those are lots to think about. Which ones come up the most in real claims?
Real claims are always going to be those waters. Lots of people think that they're going to need some type of water coverage. I've seen lots of limits with $5,000 or even $10,000. With the cost of building materials and cleanup these days, that barely covers cleanup. We're not even talking about the replacement or the repair of the damage already. So we want to see like higher limits with the water coverage because it costs so much to clean up and repair now.
Right. That makes sense. What's the biggest mistakes buyers make when it comes to insurance, and what would you want them to do differently?
So some of the biggest mistakes is not timing wise, so they're waiting too long. They're not understanding exclusions. They assume insurance is automatic, that they're automatically just going to get it, and they don't budget properly. A lot of the times policies come in far more expensive than what they think, and sometimes they ends up sacrificing coverage for price, which we don't want either, right? So if we give enough time, we can shop the market properly to ensure the policies that people are buying are going to be what they need them to be.
Right, that makes sense. So as soon as they have an accepted offer, they should be getting a quote, even if it's too far ahead of time.
Yeah, because we can quote it out and we can say, we can verify the rates in 30 days, like the 30 days before the possession date, to make sure that those are going to be the verified rates. But it's always good to start the conversation early because it allows us time to make sure that the market we're going to place them with is the best one for them.
Perfect. Awesome. If a buyer is listening today and planning to write an offer soon, what's the one thing you'd tell them to do this week?
Ask questions and be curious. Make sure that you know what you're insured for and make sure that your policy is going to be what you need it to be.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chantel. I really appreciate all your help with this. And listeners, thanks for listening. And if you found this helpful, please subscribe, like, and follow.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.